Delicious. Hello, my zany friends, and welcome to Tea and TBR, where we're going to talk about everything that I'm going to read in the month of May and drink some tea. So before we get started, I just want to tell you about the tea that I'm drinking today. This is actually the Harney & Sons Blueberry and Green Tea. I actually really like it a lot. It has a really light taste. Plus this new mug that I just got from Disney World when we went this past weekend. So let's jump into what I'm going to be reading for the month of May, or at least what I'm going to try to read. Basically, I try to plan at least 15 books because I usually read between 15 and 17, although this month of April has been bad because I've been dealing with things. So I'm trying to get that done in the next couple days. By the time you see this, it'll be May 1st. But I am filming this a couple days ahead of time, so I'm rushing to maybe get one more book in before we're done. So yeah, let's get started. So first we need to talk about the book that we're reading for the Elated Geek Book Club. This is a book club that my brother and I run on the Fable app, which is really fun because you are able to go in there at any time throughout the month, put in your thoughts on each chapter, and give your review at the very end of the book at the end of the month. So we are going to be reading for the month of May Holly Jackson's The Reappearance of Rachel Price. Now, this is a book about a girl who goes missing, and her family starts a documentary about her, and then she shows back up again. So it is a YA mystery book, and honestly, side note, if you guys want me to do a kind of roundup about books where girls go missing and then turn back up again, I've read a lot of them this year, apparently. It's a trend. So if you want to know more about those, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, also, if you want to join us in May to read this book, I will leave the Fable app link down there below so you can find us, or you can search Elated Geek on Fable. So one thing I want to tell you before we get into this whole list is that you might actually see a trend in some of the books I'm reading this month, because I do have a reading vlog coming up. If you can guess the trend, comment down below. I might do a little giveaway. If you live in the US, I might do a little giveaway, send some free extra way maybe, if you can guess what the trend is. Alright, so let's start with a few of the physical arcs that I've been sent that I'm going to read this month. The first is The Kinsey Project. This is by Jessica Para. They actually reached out to me on Instagram and asked if I'd be willing to read this book since I loved the book that they previously wrote, and I said, absolutely, I will read it. This is a story about their main character who likes to kind of plan events, and she had a lot of trouble with it apparently, but then she goes and tries to apply for an internship with this really up-and-coming influencer slash event planner, and so she tries to do, I think, another quinceañera, and it sounds really fun. So I like planning too. That's what kind of drew me to this. I love the planning aspect. So this one I think is pretty high on my list to read this month. Next, I have Everything We Never Said by Sloane Harlow. This is a book about a girl whose best friend died, and as she's kind of trying to grieve about that whole thing, she becomes closer to her best friend's boyfriend, and then she starts digging a little deeper into her best friend and finds out that maybe the boyfriend is a little suspicious. So this is a thriller, obviously, and this one has been sitting around for a while. I've just been waiting for when I'm supposed to slot it in and read it, so I'm finally to that point, ready to take it on. Next, I have Dashed. This is by Amanda Quain, and this is a really, when I heard about this book, I was like, this book is for me, okay? So it's basically a retelling of Sense and Sensibility, which is one of my favorite movies, my favorite period movies, that and Little Women, and it takes the viewpoint of Margaret Dashwood, and she is the younger sister of the three, and what she does is she goes on this cruise with her older sister Eleanor, and then the middle sister, who is Marianne, kind of crashes the cruise, and so they get stuck on this boat. There's a storm coming. There's some fake dating going on too. Like, it just seems like such a good time. And when I found out it was based on Sense and Sensibility, I knew I had to read it. So I am super excited about this one. And my last arc is How to Plot a Payback by Melissa Ferguson. You may have seen me talk about this on social media, and I actually have already started the audiobook that I got. And unfortunately, I had to stop listening to it because the author is British, and I am slightly hearing impaired. So it's very hard for me to sometimes listen to narrators who have accents. So I'm glad I have the physical copy so I can actually pick this up and read it visually. This is a book about a guy who is a writer for like a TV show, and he gets assigned to this one TV show where his nemesis, who is this girl right here, is in the show. So he basically decides he's going to write like the most chaotic plots possible in order to enact revenge. So it seems really fun, and I'm happy for a nice easy read with this one as well. If you've read this, let me know. And let's jump into my digital arcs. The ones that I am reading this month, I'm actually kind of overly excited for, to be honest. So let's start the first one. I'm going to scoot over so I can put the little thing right here and a little more tea. The first book we have is One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. If you've been following me for any length of time, you know I have a very hit or miss relationship with Ruth Ware books. There are some, like the more recent ones I love, and some of the backlist ones I do not like. But I think this one's, the premise of this one actually seems promising. So it's basically about a couple who do a like reality dating show on an island, and then of course things turn bad, and they have to like struggle. They can't get in touch with anyone off the island to come rescue them. People might start dying, etc. So I really think it's going to be a good time, and I am pretty excited to read it, but I am approaching it trepidatiously. Then I have Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton, and this one is about like this group of people who are on an island, and then there's like a murderer, and there's also like a time aspect. Like they only have a limited amount of time to figure out who's murdering people before their memories are wiped. If you've read any other Stuart Turton, like The 7 Lives of Evelyn Hardcastle, I think is the other one he wrote that I've read. You know, it is very twisty and very interesting, and you don't necessarily know what is going on until the end. So I actually am really looking forward to this one because I need a little bit of twistiness in my life right now. I also have Attached to the Hip by Christine Riccio. This is a reality dating show on an island where a girl goes to participate in like a human game of chess, but then finds out her ex-boyfriend is there, and she has to kind of play with him. And so this one seems like a really fun, like laid back kind of book, probably perfect for summer. So this one I think is one that, you know, it could go either way. We will see. Definitely, we will see. One of my anticipated this month is If Something Happens to Me by Alex Finley. This is one where the girlfriend is kidnapped and the boyfriend kind of like tries to move on with his life, but then he ends up finding a note that she has written that says, if something happens to me, this is what you should do, apparently. So he has to look into it and see if maybe she's not really missing, like, or maybe she is missing, but what happened to her, that kind of thing. I don't know much more about it than that, but that seems like, you know, a really fast, thrillery read for me. So the next one I'm going to talk about is kind of a hard one to know how I'm going to approach this. It is the main character, and this is by Jacqueline Goldies. I read The Chateau by her last year, and I was not a fan. I didn't like it very much. But then when this book came out, I was like, all right, you've got me with the premise because I am a huge Agatha Christie fan. So this book is kind of like an homage to the Orient Express because it's about an author named Genevieve, and she has this interesting way of like picking real life people to base her main characters on. So in this case, she picks someone named Rory, and then she invites Rory to be on the Orient Express for this trip through like Europe. And when Rory gets there, she finds out that all these people that she knows in her life, her friends and family, are there, and then there's a reason why Genevieve put them all there, and she's manipulating the secrets and lies. You see where I'm going with this? Like very Murder on the Orient Express type thing. So I got more excited about it. I will definitely let you know how I feel. And if you want to know any more about this book or any of the other ones, I do single book reviews on social media, on Instagram or TikTok. So definitely find me there if you want to know more about this, or it may be in a future vlog. So the next 2 books I'm going to read are actually like by the same author, the same like series. It is The Guncle and The Guncle Abroad, and I had wanted to read The Guncle for a while, but I just hadn't got around to it. So when I found out that there was a sequel, I thought, okay, well, this is a good excuse to read both. And in the first book, this guy, I think his name is Patrick, he has to take care of his niece and nephew because their mother died, who is his sister, obviously. And then in the second book, it's 5 years later, and their dad is getting married. So Patrick has to go to Europe with them in order to get ready for the wedding, but then he finds himself having to take care of like all these people involved. So it's really kind of this slapsticky, but I think it also has a little bit of heart. I don't know. If you guys have read the first one, please let me know below so I can kind of figure out more about how I can expect this book series to go. All right, let's talk about the ones I'm going to be reading for fun. So the first one I have is You've Been Summoned, and this is by Lindsay Lamar. The reason why I really want to read this book is because I had found this author on TikTok, and the way it was described was so interesting. So the basic summary of what it is about is there's like an overnight party. It's like a period 1940s go into a castle or something, like overnight type thing. And then they find a dead body. But what makes this really interesting is that it's marketed as an interactive mystery book, meaning you, the reader, are put into the shoes of trying to figure out the mystery. I mean, that alone just makes me very, very interested. So I cannot wait to read this one and share it. I like to try to read one book of the month book every month from Backlist, and this is Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh. This is a book about 2 women who decide they're going to kill for each other. That's all I know about it. I heard some really good things, so I wanted to try it out, and one of the book clubs that I'm in is actually reading it this month, so I thought this was a perfect opportunity to read this one, and if you've read it, let me know. And then I like to read one Owl Crate book every month, and this is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. This book is about, I think, witch hunters and witch vigilantes. It's a duology story where basically this witch vigilante tries to keep this witch hunter from like killing off all the witches, and then she starts falling in love with the witch hunter, and that's all I know about this book, but I will at least try it. And you know, sometimes fantasy is not my thing. I'm very picky about it, so if I don't like it, it's fine. It will go up on my Pangobooks. No worries. And the last book that I'm reading is part of a buddy read with my friend Erin and Francesca, which I do at least one buddy read with Francesca and Erin every month. So this is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. Again, this is another fantasy book. I do not know how I'm going to feel about this, but I feel better when I have to read it with a buddy. Because this is, I mean, it's the winner of a Hugo Award. It fulfills a lot of prompts that I need for different book things that I'm doing this month. But I have heard such good things about this book that I had to pick it up. If you have read, because it's been out a while, if you've read, tell me if I will like it. And should I continue past book 1? Anyway, so this is a story of like a woman who finds that her husband has killed her son and kidnapped her daughter. And as she's trying to deal with that whole thing, there's some stuff about like things that are happening to the continent and the city. I don't know. I was reading the summary and I was like, what is happening? I have no idea. So on the back, it basically says this. It starts with the Great Red Rift across the heart of the world's sole continent, spewing ash that blots out the sun. It starts with death, with a murdered son and a missing daughter. It starts with betrayal and long dormant wounds rising up to fester. This is the stillness, a land familiar with catastrophe, where the power of the earth is wielded as a weapon, and there is no mercy. I mean, it sounds intense, and I want to be here for it. Looks like there are 3, the Obelisk Gate and the Stone Sky, that come after this. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it. So those are all of my books for the month of May. Please let me know what you're reading this month. I would love to know. Plus, I will take any recommendations and put that in my TBR cart if you have any. I love, as you can tell, thrillers, mysteries, horrors, YA, and cozy fantasy. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay zany.